Hey, I'm Lance Thrailkill here. We're celebrating our 70th year in business, and we've got all three generations of all Metals Fabricating team here. We're going to just have an interview and talk about the past 45 years that it's been in our family since Big Bill bought the business in 1978. So, Big Bill, you bought the business in 78. What prompted you to buy the business? What made you want to go into, own your own company, and what did you hope to accomplish?
Well, I've been working for a very good company for 13 years. Had a very good boss. I'd got as far up the ladder as I could go. So I started looking for a business to buy because I wanted to be my own boss. And I saw from the way the business was run that I could make it work. And that's kind of what tempted me to get started in it. And I spent probably 3 years looking before I found this company. And I had been trying to sell it for like 3 years before I even bought it. So there was a couple of people that owned it, a man and a woman, and they were both ready to retire. So they were not really proceeding to make the company bigger or better than it had been. They were just trying to keep the doors open for their employees. And they were looking for somebody that was going to keep the employees and do the same type of work that they've been doing before. And that's what we did. That's how we got started.
Did you have any goals or ambitions when you first started, things that you wanted to accomplish?
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought that I could make a business to employ people, to keep people working. I had the experience. I've been doing the business for close to 30 years at that time, about 20 years, I guess. And I just felt like I could be a benefit to other people by having a place that they could work and enjoy. And we were basing that on the fact that our employees are kind of like our family. Once they joined the company, they became part of our family. That's a lot of what our success amounted to, was treating the employees like they were part of the family. And that's what we've done over all the years that we've been in business.
That's for sure. You've always put people first. You're people first, and it's been obvious, and I think that's a big key to our success. I agree. So the first year you bought the business for $250,000, best $250,000 you ever spent, or invested, I should say. And the first year you canceled the biggest contract they had after building one time, and still managed to quadruple the sales in the first year. So how did you manage to do that? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I'd been in business for several years, was dealing with customers, people that was in the same type of business that we were in. And a lot of those people came to me to give me work, not that I went out and tried to find work. They just came to me to do the work that they wanted done. So, the first year we probably, I managed to make more money than I'd ever made the first year. So, it started off good. And most people say, it takes 7 years to make a business profitable. Well, we proved all of that wrong.
You sure did. You sure did. Homer,
we were family oriented from the start. My wife had never really worked at a job. She came on board and done all the secretarial work, all the bookkeeping, everything that needed to be done. And besides that, kept me in line. So we worked together, which people said, that'll never work. We were actually in the same office with one big desk where both of us sat at the same desk. So we kind of had to put up with each other for 14, 15, 16 hours a day and we still stayed married.
Well, God bless Granny. Thanks for putting up with it.
That was hard for her,
I can only imagine.
but she enjoyed it. She enjoyed working.
Two people didn't even graduate high school were able to buy a business and make it this successful. It's just unbelievable. It's the American dream for sure. So we'd had Homer up here a little bit ago, and he mentioned that early on he heard through the grapevine that you were working a second job even and sleeping at the shop, just making sure you can make payroll. Can you share a little bit about that?
Well, you know, I don't know that I worked 2 jobs after I bought the business, but I had been working 2 jobs at other places that I had worked. In fact, I had worked some years and did worked on 3 jobs. So
There was several times it was 3 jobs.
I've always enjoyed working. I've always enjoyed staying busy and excelling in everything that I could do. And I worked for them for 13 years before I bought this business. So we've been very fortunate to, I don't know that we've ever laid off anybody up until 2000 when our workload dropped about 50%. And we still kept most all of our employees, but we did have to lay off a few.
Yeah, we are all really proud of that. We've only had to have 2 layoffs in the 45 years that our family's owned it. Thank God for that, ultimately. And it's also worth mentioning that in the 2 years that we had lost money, I know you still funded a 15% 401k, which is very significant check to write after losing money for the year. So I know that that has been still today impactful on the people that are here, and I'm just grateful for that example of taking care of your people first and no matter what. So Billy, is there anything that stands out to you about that's made Bill so successful?
Well, I mean, I think that from day one, I mean, there wasn't an option. I mean, it's, you know, how much can I do? How hard do I need to work? You know, what I need to learn? What do I need to do to make sure that I'm successful? So I think it was the attitude of I'm going to do whatever it takes. That kind of ended up being part of that. You know, if I'm working late and need to end up sleeping in the shop, I'll do that. If I need to do this, obviously they were saving their money so they could make sure that they could pay their employees. So, I mean, from very early on, even before owning the business, I mean, I was always proud of both my mom and dad, just in the way that they were very unselfish, you know, just total selflessness and putting other people first, which, you know, of course, later becomes doing that with employees, doing it with vendors, just making sure. So, I mean, and being able to look at something and know right off how to build it, how to make it better, you know, if we were doing it right, if something needed to change. So, you know, those are the things that it basically just being all in is what it boils down to.
Yeah, that whatever it takes mentality. There's stories about Bill walking out on the floor and saying, I don't care, do whatever it takes to get the job out. And Will does a better Big Bill impression than I do. But it's funny because you know, a few years ago we did a core values exercise, and we picked a few employees that we thought were A+ players, and we made our core values based on those people. And whatever it takes, we had like 7 people doing this survey, and all of them had this whatever it takes as a core value. And so it's just, even though at that point Bill had been out of the business for like 10, 15 years, to see that his core values have now lived on through the organization, through the people that are here, is just really cool and powerful. And that whatever it takes mentality, you certainly demonstrated so well, and we're super thankful for, and it's going to be continued on for as long as this place is around. So thank you for that.
But we also had 2 daughters that worked in the company for several years until they started having kids. And when they started having kids, I said, time for you to stay home and raise your kids. So after that, they ended up not coming back to work, but they did other things. So I think our whole family has got basically the same attitude about working and doing what it takes to make it work.
That's right. So what do you think's made Billy so successful? What stands out about Billy, and what about y'all's relationship and just how y'all worked made it so successful?
That was something else that when Billy came to work for the company, there was nobody said, man, that's great. Everybody said, that's not going to work. No way. And I don't think over the 45 years that we worked together, we've ever had a crossword between us, either one that I know of.
No.
Whatever he wanted that we could do, we did. No, but seriously, Billy, when he came to work, he pretty much had the same attitude I did about working. And he's probably maybe even a more workaholic than I am.
Not a workaholic.
And these two guys they're a little bit behind us, but they're trying to catch up.
We're trying to work smarter, not harder, right? That's what y'all always told me to do. Something you said stood out to me just about, you said whatever Billy wanted to do, we did. And that just demonstrates the selflessness and humility that you have, and that I know Billy has. People are always asking me, how was that the handoff, working with your parents, your grandparents, that can be messy, and I'm just super thankful in the way that he's been so selfless and humble, and letting me and Will just take the company and the same direction, but with a new vision, and really just building off of their vision of just always automating, always being innovative, working hard, doing whatever it takes. So thank you both for the great examples y'all been. Thinking back, did you ever think, Bill, that we'd be where we are today, celebrating the 70th year and the third generation?
No, I really didn't think that far in advance, I don't guess, because I knew Billy was working for us, but I didn't know that the next generation would have the same ambition, because it's not a glorious job in the sense that you don't get out to meet that many people. I mean, you have customers that you talk to, but you're really not out in the main flow of people, meeting a lot of different people. You're just meeting people that you're doing business with. So I wasn't sure that the next generation would have that same attitude that we had. So I think everything worked out pretty good.
I'd say so. I'm super thankful for it. So, Bill, what do you think is the biggest secret to our long-term success all these years? If you could name one or two things that you think has been the key to our success.
I've always tried to work with the customers and come up with better ways to build a product, and also at the same time be able to make it cheaper, because that's their philosophy. Whenever you give them a bid, it's always too high. So they always want a better price. So in order to get a better price, you got to change the way that it's built. And I've had a lot of customers say, well, where did you get your degree in engineering? And I said, I have never had a degree in engineering. I just figure out how to do things, and it always works. So the other thing is that we try to be real conscious of our customers and always make sure that we make delivery on time. And even if we had a product that there was something wrong with it, and it came back to us, regardless of whether it was our fault or not, we fixed it for them. So we've always treated our customers kind of along the same line as family. So I think everything is kind of based around family relations.
Yep.
If you treat everybody like your own family, you're going to succeed.
Putting other people first.
Right.
Yeah. Billy, what would you say?
Well, we've already kind of touched on a lot of it. Just that can-do attitude, of course, is still one of the things. The being able and willing to outwork the competition. Just somebody says it's going to be 3 weeks, and hey, we can really do it. And got to work a little bit harder, pay a little bit more overtime, but we can do it 2 weeks. So a lot of that, and it's still having perspective as well, and realizing that still God first, family second, and then work. But they're all intertwined. That you have to make a living, take care of your family. You have to make a living to do your tithing. So they're all interrelated, but it's keeping that perspective, and we have to keep that perspective if we expect our employees and the people around us to keep that perspective.
Will, what would you say? What stands out to you as what's made us successful all these years?
I think for our customers, they know that we're going to be truthful. We're going to tell them the truth, and what we say is what's going to happen. We're not going to lie to them and tell them we can do it in 4 weeks if we can't do it in 4 weeks. So that communication, I think, is what we've said is a big company but small town feel, right? We're a small company, but we can accomplish big boy stuff. And just being truthful and honest with them. I think that they can count on us for that.
Yeah, integrity stands out. That I did an interview with somebody and one of Bill's customers when I was in college, and the guy told me, he said, one thing about Bill is you can take his for his word. It's anything he says is what it is, and you can count on that. You can take that to the bank, and he said he'll tell you how much he's going to make on it, and what it costs, and you can count on that. And so I know the integrity piece has been huge for us, and really helped solidify. That way, when you go back and you need to increase pricing, you have that relationship with them, that trust factor. They know what you say is what it is.
I'd add that we still got customers that was customers of the previous owners that is still doing business with us after 45 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Comco is an example.
Yeah, Comco. And they just got a big new contract with Walmart, so they're doing more than they've ever done, which is really cool. That was always kind of your model, is be faithful and excellent with the opportunities in front of you, serve your customer, and just grow organically as they grow. And it's worked out. So what would you say are some key changes or improvements the company has gone through over the years?
Well, when I bought the company, he had no CNC equipment whatsoever. Everything was manual done. And the first thing I did the first year was buy a CNC punching machine, which, before that, it might take you a whole day if the part was pretty elaborate to make that part, punch it out, shear it, do everything that needed to be done to it. The difference being if that machine could do in 3 minutes what it might take you 8 hours to do on the other equipment.
Wow.
So we've kind of had that same philosophy through the whole time period. We always put buying equipment probably in front of even profit, because in order to be competitive, you got to have the best equipment.
Yep.
So, and I think you've jumped on that same theory.
I've doubled down on it. So, Billy, what would you say have been the big changes that we've gone through that have been key?
Yeah, so like every decade, every year is something, but every decade is like, wow, how can it be this much faster? How can it be this much more calculated, having closer tolerancing? So just the speed of things, of course, then adding the robotics, adding the automation. Every year is different. Every decade, of course, is huge jumps. And so, you'd think, okay, we've gone as far as we can go, but with the new AI and things coming out, the next 10 years may even be a bigger change than the last 10 years. So it's something, but it keeps it interesting. So I think if you just sit there with the attitude of, wow, this is great, we're doing what we need to be doing, let's stay right here, then maybe you wouldn't be there in the next 10 years. You got to stay after it to be in the game.
Yeah, y'all's commitment to reinvesting in the company has been substantial, and definitely something that Will and I and the current leadership team has definitely, like I said, doubled down on. I think what's important is like a lot of business owners are taking that money out and putting it in their pockets. And so instead, you guys had the foresight to always be reinvesting it into the company instead of being greedy and trying to make a quick buck, put some money in your pocket today, reinvest it for the future. And I know we're super thankful for that.
Well, we did a little bit of both.
I'm not saying you didn't make some money. Billy, can you share, is there a story that stands out to you about Bill or something that's been impactful to you?
Both my mom and my dad, even before the business, I mean, all the time I was growing up, I witnessed unselfishness from both of them to me having things and my mother doing without things so I could have things. And so I saw that early on, even before this. So, but then you get into a business and you see those, because they were already their traits. That's just the way they live. That's what they believed. And so then seeing those traits in the business, you realize that's just life. That's what you do. So then it became, of course, you got to have your employees, you got to have your customers, and you got to have your vendors. And some people, of course, everybody knows you got to have your customers, but without those employees, you can't take care of the customers. Without your vendors, you can't take care of the customers. So everything's important. I think that just learning that to be unselfish and to, like Will said, so people would know if you say something, that's the truth, and that applies to everyone. I mean, that helps with your customer relationships, also helps with your relationship with your vendors and the relationship with your employees.
Yeah, just thinking about Pops' work ethic, knowing he didn't used to get to start school until he got done picking the cotton for his dad as a farmer, and so that's pretty powerful that he had to start school a few weeks late because he was busy finishing up picking the crops. I know that's something that's always stuck with me. Will, what about you? Is there a story about Bill or Billy or something that's been impactful to you?
Well, just like the traits they've been saying, just their hearts, how they care for everybody, not just their family, but the whole shop is the family, and it's taking care of generations beyond of what they can probably see, and it's just what a blessing to do that personally and as a business. And what a legacy to carry on.
No doubt. Yeah, where you have the privilege to do so. Yeah, Will, we did an exercise as a leadership team where each person went around and named the 3 people that were most impactful in their life. And Will had both Billy and Bill on there. And you think about 3 people, you get your parents, your wife. I mean, somebody's fallen off that list in order for these guys to be on there. And actually 5 of the 7 people in the room had at least one of them on there, which is really powerful. And disclaimer, one of the guys had only been here a few years, so he didn't have, as you guys didn't have the privilege of having as much impact on his life. But that was a really powerful moment for us as a leadership team, and I will. And there wasn't a dry eye in the group as we talked about the impact that you guys have had on people's lives. Will, looking ahead, just what's on the horizon for All Metals? Where are we going in the future? You can talk a little bit about that, just as a company.
Well, it's an exciting time. Like Billy was saying, the information is changing, daily, yearly. I mean, it's advancing at such a rate that what a fun time to be a part of a business that's growing and has the capabilities and ability to change with that, to adapt. So yeah, I mean, I look forward to seeing where we can, from the very front end of the business, from when you walk in the door, from the accounting, purchasing side, all the way to the back door on delivering, maybe even buy a selfless driving truck to deliver the product. I mean, who knows what the future holds, but, it's going to be from the front end to the back end of the business. And I look forward to that. And, with green energy, how can we be great stewards to this building and this company of solar and that future that we can still look there as well.
Yeah, Will, you've been doing a great job helping push forward our green initiative and recycling. We're trying to be a zero waste facility and also serving the alternative energy sector. We've invested a lot into that, and it's actually now our biggest industry is alternative energy. So we're looking forward to continuing to carry forward the investment of innovation. Our 10-year target is to be the most automated job shop in the world, which is a tall order, but we are marching diligently towards it. So we're very excited. Thank you for sharing that, Will. So what is your involvement with AMF meant to you, both personally and professionally? How has the company impacted you? What is it meant to you?
Well, it's meant security for one thing. Well, from the day we opened the doors or bought the business, I've always felt that I could do most anything that I wanted to do. And over the years, with everybody's help, not just me, but the whole company, we have managed to make sure everybody had a job, everybody was happy in what they were doing. And just like Homer, he's been at that chair welding for 47 years. But, it's making sure that everybody, that your employees are satisfied with what they're doing, because if you're working in a job that you don't enjoy, you're not going to perform to your highest ability. Mm-hmm. So we've always tried to make sure that our employees are happy. And part of that is, when we first bought the business, it wasn't air conditioned. In fact, there wasn't hardly any shops in the Dallas area that was air conditioning. Now, I think it was 1982 that we had all the hot summers that we had to put in AC because our people couldn't work 8 hours. They could work till maybe 1 o'clock, and then they'd have to go home because it was too hot. And ever since then, we've managed to have an air-conditioned place for them to work. We furnished them with insurance for their whole family. So I think just a combination of knowing that you're doing what you feel is right for you and right for the company and all your employees, which leads to making sure your customers are happy. So, it's a combination. Everybody has to have an idea of what they can do and perform at their best ability. Mm-hmm. And I think that's most success in anything you do. If you put 100% into it, you're going to get 100% out of it. Mm-hmm. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, putting people first. I always say, that if somebody's miserable at their job, they're probably going to be a miserable husband or spouse and parent. And so having people be empowered at their job, feeling cared for at their job, helps them not only, like you said, be more successful at work and be more productive, right, but also is going to help them be, more productive, spouse.
Yeah, it helps everybody all the way down the line. There's just so many things that you don't really think about, but it happens. If you're doing the right thing, it'll happen.
What about you, Billy? What's AMF meant to you in all these years, personally and professionally?
Well, of course, it is. You're spending more time at work than you do any other place. The only thing that comes close is sleeping. And so I'm proud of the job we've been able to do. I'm proud of what my dad's done. I'm proud of what I've done myself. I'm proud of my son Lance and my nephew Will and what they've been able to accomplish, and just seeing the company continuing to grow and knowing that we're taking care of our customers and knowing that they're speaking highly of us and recommending us to others, and that our employees that we have, one of the things that always has been important, we always had one of our key goals was provide a safe and place where people could work and enjoy their work. So all of that's it's important to me, and the good thing is in the third generation is still something that's important.
Thank you. Yeah, I remember you take a lot of pride and care in providing jobs for people, and that's evidence in why, with God's help, we've only had to have 2 layoffs ever. So I know that's something that just motivates you day in, day out. is providing for families, and you've done a great job at that. So thank you. Well, what about you? What impact has All Metals had on you and your family? And talk a little bit too about, did you plan on getting in the business? And
I started in, I think, 10th grade, some summer job, and then junior and senior year went part day at school, and then worked the afternoons till dinner time. Then after college, during college, it wasn't my initial plan to come back to the family business. But once I met my wife, realized that this was the best opportunity for my family. And it was a huge opportunity and a blessing to be a part of this. And for the last 20 years to work next to y'all three is incredible.
Yeah, it's definitely a blessing. What did you, anything from one of those early days that helps you today, or?
Just seeing these two and their sheer hard work and determination, just seeing that is made me want to do what we do today.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. I know for me personally, professionally, just more of what y'all are saying, just taking care of people's lives, just entrusting. I tell people when I'm interviewing them that when we hire somebody, we look at it as God has entrusted us to steward that life. And so that's a weighty responsibility, but something that we take great pride and joy in doing, and being able to steward all these people's lives and their families' lives. And that's what's meaningful to me, and getting to work alongside you two and getting to see you guys every day is just an incredible blessing, and very thankful for that as well.
Yeah, well, any business, is determined by the head guys. I mean, he's just like these guys. I mean, Billy was always willing to work all night if he had to get jobs out. If you don't bid the jobs and get the jobs, then you don't have the stuff there for the employees to work. So, everything leads to a combination of everybody working together. Because if you don't have the work, you don't have the customers, so you don't have any work for the employees, so you have to lay them off. And that's just something that never happened for us, because the top people put in the hours to make sure there's work out there.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Anything you guys want to add to conclude?
It's all good.
Yeah, one thing I noted, and you talked about taking care of vendors, and a lot of people nowadays, the trends are to slow pay people, and so you can get more float on your money, and that's one thing that always stood out to me about you guys is y'all not only paid your vendors on time, you paid them early. Some of them we were even paying net 15 and still do, and that's something like for me, nothing gets me more upset than not much gets me more upset than when we have a late bill, because even if the vendor didn't send it to us, I want to make sure it's paid on time and our vendors are taken care of. And I think that's something a lot of businesses overlook, and it goes back to you guys just putting people first, taking care of people.
And that's another thing, if you pay your bills, your vendors will take care of you too.
Take care of you first.
They'll make sure they got material for you, even if they got a better price from somebody else. If you pay your bills, they will be there for you.
Well, we've reaped the benefits of that from when COVID happened. It was actually the year later. The metals market was there was not enough supply, and so so many people ask me, "Oh, how are you guys getting by without any steel?" And I'd say, honestly, all our vendors are taking care of us. We haven't had one job that we've had to turn down because of our vendors getting us the material, and that's funny thing is these two are the toughest negotiators you'll ever find, and so they're pretty tough on the vendors, but they love them. The vendors love them and would tell you that they're we are their favorite customer because we take care of them, and so thank you guys for that. I was the foundation you were laying for all these years certainly paid off during the most turbulent time our industry's ever seen. at least in y'all's lifetime. So that was a
I had one vendor that told me we paid less for the material than any other vendor in the Dallas area, but they loved us more than they did anybody else because we paid our bills. So it just keeps going and going and going and going.
yeah.
As long as you do things right, you're going to be treated right.
That's funny. I had a vendor email me some pricing a couple months ago, and then he emailed back, wait, sorry, that wasn't the Thrailkill pricing. Here's the Thrailkill pricing. And so that was pretty cool to see. And anything else you guys want to add?
All I can say is don't screw it up.
It's the third generation that always blows it. So hopefully me and Will, we got a great team though. It's nothing we're doing. It's all the team and the employees, and we just get to be the face of the franchise, so to speak. But I always say that when you're on top, that just means you're the servant of everybody, because as you guys did such a great job giving us examples of is servant leadership, and we follow Jesus, who was the ultimate servant leader and came and laid his life down for us. And so
That hadn't been mentioned much, but God always plays the top role. And again, I'll say it again, when you do things the right way and for the right reason, you're going to come out all right. So you put God first, everything works out.
that's right.
Amen.
And he has provided for us, and we're super thankful for it. Well, thank you guys for taking the time, and it's been a joy, and we look forward to 70 more years, hopefully, and 3 more generations. So we'll see what happens with that. But thank you guys for watching the interview. I hope you enjoyed it, and we appreciate your business and the opportunity to serve you.